The boring trail that changed everything. Max had always been an avid hiker, and his love for the great outdoors was only rivaled by his enthusiasm for exploring every nook and cranny with 100-mile radius of his home. But everything changed when he stumbled upon a brochure that caught his eye. It was for the infamous Mountain Marvel Trail. Touted as having breathtaking views and challenging terrain, as Max delved deeper into the brochure, his excitement began to wane, replaced by a growing sense of disappointment. The trail, it seemed, was notorious for being the most boring hike in the state, with mile after mile of flat, dry ground that promised nothing more than a gentle stroll. Undeterred, Max decided he had to see it for himself. He packed his trusty backpack and water bottle, and set off early the next morning with a spring in his step. His parents, while amused by his enthusiasm, couldn't help but think their son was crazy for wanting to tackle this particular trail. As Max walked, the reality of the situation began to sink in. The brochure hadn't lied. After all, the trail was flat and dry, and utterly devoid of any real challenge. He trudged along for hours, his feet aching and his spirits sagging with each passing mile. Just when he thought things couldn't get worse, the skies turned dark gray, and the rain came pouring down. Max's poncho did little to keep him dry, and soon he was shivering with cold and frustration as he trudged through the wet mud. But still he pushed on, his determination fueled by a stubborn refusal to give up. And then, just when he thought things couldn't get any more miserable, he heard the sound of children laughing and playing in the distance. As he rounded a bend, Max caught sight of a group of kids on a field trip to the Mountain Marvel Trail. They were running around like lunatics, completely carefree and oblivious to the rain-soaked conditions. Max watched them for a moment, feeling a pang of jealousy as he wondered why his hikes couldn't be as fun as theirs. And then it hit him. Maybe that was exactly what made this trail so boring in the first place. Not because it lacked excitement, but because Max had been expecting too much from it. He'd brought his adult expectations and worries with him, instead of embracing the simple joy of walking and exploring. Feeling a newfound sense of determination, Max shook off the rain and joined the group of kids on their hike. Together, they ran through puddles, climbed over rocks, and laughed until their sides hurt. The rain became just another part of the adventure, rather than something to be endured. One of the kids turned to him with a grin. "Hey, aren't we just having a blast? Who cares about boring trails when you can make your own fun?" Max couldn't help but agree. From that day on, he approached his hikes with a fresh perspective, as opportunities for adventure, rather than destinations in themselves. As he finished the Mountain Marvel Trail and made his way back home, dripping wet and beaming with pride, Max realized that sometimes it takes a bit of boredom to learn how to truly appreciate the simple things in life. He vowed never again to let his expectations dictate his experiences, and instead, to approach each new trail with an open mind and a willingness to have fun. The views may not have been breathtaking, nor was the terrain particularly challenging, but what had started out as a dull hike turned into a gettable experience thanks to Max's willingness to let go and have fun. And as he looked back on his journey, he knew that this trail would always be more than just a boring hike. It would be a reminder of the power of perspective and the joy of discovering new ways to see the world.
Thank you for watching. Thanks for watching my short story.